At Change Associates, we use OrgView to model data-driven organisational designs quickly and easily. And we use OrgView in 3 key ways: to load and cleanse data, to visualise and analyse data, and to model and refine data. And I'm going to show you today how you can use OrgView. So the first part of any project is to load your data into OrgView. And it's really easy to get your data into OrgView. Normally, we would download employee data from a core HR system and then simply copy and paste it into OrgView. And you can add data on people, processes, roles, systems, and it provides the benefit of having all of your data in one place, so then you can view your organisation as a whole. And what we can see now within this data set is that we've got about 1,500 different employees, and we've got 40 different pieces of information about those employees. And the data that we can add to OrgView is limitless as long as it's linked back to an employee. And on the left-hand side here, you can see that there's a hierarchy in the data. It's showing the reporting lines, and this is taken by looking at the employee ID and the manager ID. And this is really important for building the org charts. If you need to edit data in OrgView, you can simply click into a cell here, or you can also come down to your property pane at the bottom here. What I want to show you next is how to create an org chart within OrgView. So if we come on to our tree view here, this is one of the biggest time savers of OrgView. And what this is now showing us is an org chart of the full organisation. Without having to make any changes, OrgView has been able to model that. But we want to focus on level 2 of the organisation, so we would click on level 2 here. But as we do that, we can see that OrgView has recognised that there are 9 levels in this organisation. So coming to level 2, we can now see the CEO and we can see the direct reports into the CEO. But we might want to delve into a part of the organisation more. Let's have a look at the HR director's reports, and we can click on the arrow here to do that. The other thing that's fantastic with OrgView is the ability to add colour onto the org charts. Let's do that now by department, and we click to apply. And this has now added another dimension to our org chart, and we can see it's coloured by department. And there are a number of different ways that we can visualise org charts within OrgView. One that we regularly use as well as the summary card here, and it allows you to add different pieces of information to the org chart. So let's add department, for example, now. But you could add as many pieces of information as you wanted to, as long as it's within your data set. And an org chart that allows you to really understand the organisation and make comparisons is this scaled org chart here. And we would typically look at FTE, for example, or we might look at total payroll cost. So let's have a look at that now. And what this is showing us now is that the CEO has a total payroll cost of £617,000, and we can see for the sales director it's £239,000. But another way that we can use the scaled org chart is to understand the organisation as a whole. So if we click roll up now, what this is showing us is the total cost of the organisation, and we can see that that is 83.6 million. And we can see for the sales director, where it's summed up all the direct reports under this individual, it's now at 5.45 million. Another great way to visualise the organisation as a whole and spot opportunities and trends is what's called a sunburst. And we would typically use this view when we're looking at spans and layers. And if we zoom out slightly, we can now see the whole organisation mapped out here. We know now the huge span of control that the COO has. We could look at one-to-one reporting lines, and we can have a look at the differences in levels across the organisation. And adding colour really adds another dimension to this sunburst. If we come on to measure now, we can have a look at performance ranking. So with low performance being categorised as red and high performance as green, we can now have a look at any trends and patterns in the organisation. And it might be that we now want to go away and have a look into why the performance is low in this programme manager's team. We can see it's having an impact across the team here. So the next part of a project is normally then to cleanse our data. And I'm going to show you how you would do that now. And it's really important with any project to have as accurate a data set as possible. And OrgView makes this easy to spot any errors and make those changes. So if we come back to our org chart now, and we come to our tree view, and we look at level 3, we saw earlier that the executive assistant had a huge cost. And we can see now why that is, with the COO reporting into the executive assistant. We know that's incorrect and that's been validated. So to make the change and move the COO to report into the CEO, all we do is simply drag and drop here. And straight away, this change has quickly been reflected. And the other way that you can cleanse data really easily in OrgView is using this filter control here. It's so much easier to spot changes here than it would be in Excel. And again, to make those changes, you simply drag and drop. So if we look at country now, most of our organisation are categorised under UK, but some, we've got 20, categorised under United Kingdom. And to be able to do our analysis and make accurate comparisons, we need everybody to be categorised the same. So again, we just simply drag and drop. And now the data's been updated with everybody as UK. And we could have a look at other areas. For example, if we looked at gender, similarly, we've got issues here with capitalisation and spelling, and we would drag and drop to again make those corrections. So once we're happy with our baseline data, the next phase is to understand the as-is. And OrgView provides a huge range of different charts and visualizations. If we come now onto our chart view, I'm going to show you how you can use bar charts. And we can have a look now at sum of records by department, for example. And we often find it's these simple questions that can't be answered. Understanding cost of the organisation or FTE by department. And OrgView helps us to quickly get that understanding. So we've now got total records by department, but we might want to have a look at sum of payroll cost by department. So we can see here now that the Ops Programme Delivery team have a total payroll cost of 20 million. We can see the largest teams through to then the smallest teams. And we've got that comparison. And to then export these charts, it's really easy. If we come onto this camera icon here, we can export them as PDFs, as PowerPoint, or we can even email them. So this allows us to keep everybody in the project up to date, but it also means that we've got really consistent, powerful, clean visuals to share with stakeholders. So after we've understood our as-is, we'll come on to modelling some changes, and I'll show you how you do that now. So first of all, we need to save our data set. And then what we're going to do is create a copy of our data set. And this is what's called branching, and it allows us to then make a comparison between our baseline and our new scenario. So we're going to call this design option 1. And let's do the fun part now and model some changes. We'll come onto our tree view here, and we'll change to a summary card. And OrgView allows us to really quickly and easily reflect changes, and it also allows us to then quickly assess the impact of any changes that are being made. So we have some really robust scenarios that we can create. So we've decided and agreed our design principles, and the changes that we need to make here are moving the head of research to report into the COO. So we just drag and drop, and that change is then made. But we also need to reduce some cost in the head of research's team. So we're going to delete 2 program managers and their direct reports. So we'll delete them now. And we'll do that again for the second role now. So again, it's really easy just to drag and drop to that delete. And what I want to show you now is how you then see very quickly the impact of those changes. So coming onto our dashboard view here, select the changes report, and this will now show us a summary of the changes that we've just made in that scenario. So we can see that 160 roles have been deleted, If we click node level here, it's then going to give us a breakdown role by role of those changes. And we can have a look at the impact of the changes on other areas. So let's have a look at total payroll costs now. And straight away that we can see here that the impact of making those changes is a saving of £11 million. And this changes report is really, really helpful then when we come on to implementing changes, and we can come back on to make comparisons to see the changes as the project progresses. And to then view the to-be organisation, similarly to understanding the as-is, we can come back onto our chart view here. We could have a look at total payroll cost by department again. We could have a look at the impact on FTE, and we can then export these charts and make side-by-side comparisons. The final thing I wanted to show you with OrgView is how you connect together people and processes. And this gives huge value because it helps you to really understand the interactions across the business, who works on the different processes, and even the cost of those processes. So similarly to adding role data to OrgView, you can add processes to OrgView. So it could be that you take a process taxonomy, you change it to make it relevant to your organisation. You would simply then paste it in here. And there's a hierarchy, again, by looking at the process IDs. But what I want to focus on today is how roles and processes are connected together. And this allows you to then categorise and understand who spends time on which processes and how much time. And there are a couple of ways that you can do this. You can either manually enter the time spent on certain processes. So for example, for the group financial controller, we could assign 10% of their time to managing AP, 10% of their time to managing AR, and so on. The other way to enter this information is by running a survey through OrgView. And we typically do this, and it has huge benefits. We can email out a survey to a huge volume of people. They then simply assign their time in that survey, and this is then automatically fed back into OrgView, allowing us to make comparisons. The other way to use this linked view is by assigning a RACI, so who's responsible, accountable for what, for example. So we can then see any overlap in work, any fragmented processes and crossover. And we can now assess, coming onto our chart view, the cost of processes, for example. By assigning that time or sending that survey, we now know that managing operations has a cost of 3 million. We know for define and deliver strategy there's a cost of 2.56 million. So straight away we're given detailed insight into where cost is in the organisation, where opportunities are, and where we might delve into next in our analysis. So there we have it. This is a high-level view of brilliant OrgView. It's all I have time for today, but any questions, please get in touch with us at Change Associates. Thank you.